Hello, my name is Julian. If you asked anyone in my hometown about the Miller sisters, they would tell you two very different stories. They would tell you about Bianca, the star. Bianca was the sun around which my family orbited. She was loud, she was beautiful, and she was aggressively successful. She was a high-powered financial advisor who drove a Porsche and wore suits that cost more than most people made in a month. She was the pride and joy of my parents. She was the one who made it, and then they would tell you about me, Julian, the quiet one, the struggling artist, the one who lived in a small apartment and drove a 10-year-old sedan. To my family, I was a disappointment. I was the one they pitied. I was the one they whispered about at holidays. Poor Julian, my mother would say, loud enough for me to hear. She just does not have Bianca's drive. She settles for so little. But there was a secret. A very large, very expensive secret. I was not struggling. I was not poor. And I was definitely not settling. 5 years ago, I had quietly co-founded a boutique cybersecurity firm called Aegis. We specialize in protecting high-net-worth individuals and corporations from digital theft. My company was not just doing well, it was exploding. We had contracts with banks, with tech giants, even with government agencies. My personal net worth was double what Bianca claimed to have. I never told my family. Why? Because I knew them. I knew that if I told them, the dynamic would change. Bianca would not be happy for me. She would be competitive. She would be jealous. She would try to destroy it. Or worse, she would try to take credit for it. My parents would suddenly expect me to pay for everything, just as they expected me to serve them emotionally. So, I kept my mouth shut. I lived simply. I invested my money. I bought a beautiful house in the mountains that they knew nothing about. I let them believe I was a failure. It was safer that way. It was peaceful. The peace in my family was always temporary. The event that triggered the war was my grandmother's 80th birthday. Grandma Rose, she was the only person in the family I truly loved. She was sharp, kind, and she saw through Bianca's act. For her birthday, she wanted a huge party. A gala. Bianca, of course, took over the planning. She wanted it to be a showcase for her success. She booked the most expensive country club. She ordered the most expensive champagne. She sent out invitations that looked like royal decrees. I wanted to do something special for Grandma, too. Since I was poor, I told my parents I was making her a scrapbook. They rolled their eyes. That is sweet, Julian, my father said, his voice dripping with condescension. At least it is affordable, but in reality, I had bought Grandma the one thing she had always dreamed of. A small, charming cottage on the coast of Ireland. Her ancestral home. I had paid for it in cash. I had hired a property manager. It was ready for her. I planned to give her the deed and the keys in a private moment, away from the cameras and the noise of Bianca's show. However, I made a mistake. A small, careless mistake. I left a brochure for the Irish cottage on my coffee table. When my mother came to visit my sad apartment, she saw it. She saw the price penciled in the margin. $300,000. She told Bianca. That was the spark. Bianca could not understand how her failure of a sister could be looking at a $300,000 property. She did not think I had earned it. She thought I was lying. Or worse, she thought I was stealing. She thought I was a fraud. And in Bianca's world, there was only room for one success story. She decided that she was not just going to expose me. She was going to destroy me. She was going to hire professionals to dig into my life, prove I was a liar, and humiliate me in front of everyone we knew. I did not know about the investigation at first. I just noticed that Bianca was acting stranger than usual. She was giddy. She was almost manic. Whenever we spoke, she would drop little hints. So, Julian, she would say, with a shark-like smile, how is the art business going? Making lots of sales? Or are you finding money in other ways? I ignored her. I was busy. My company, Aegis, was in the middle of a massive audit for a new banking client. I was working 18-hour days. I did not have time for her games. But Bianca was busy, too. She had hired a firm, Blackstone Investigations, a high-end, ruthless private investigation agency. She paid them a retainer of $10,000. She gave them one instruction. Find out where my sister is getting her money. She's a fraud. She is probably involved in something illegal. Or she is lying about her wealth to embarrass the family. I want proof. And I want her ready for the party. She wanted a spectacle. She wanted to stand up at Grandma's birthday, present her a perfect gift, and then reveal that I was a criminal or a pathological liar. She wanted to be the hero who saved the family reputation from the black sheep. The investigators went to work. They were good. They followed me. They ran background checks. They looked into my financials. And what they found? Well, it confused them. They saw me going to a high-security office building every day. They saw me having lunch with CEOs. They saw my name on incorporation papers. They realized very quickly that I was not a fraud. I was a legitimate, highly successful tech founder. But Blackstone Investigations was a thorough firm. When they investigate a target, they investigate the client as well. It is standard procedure to ensure they are not being used for illegal harassment or corporate espionage. They ran a background check on Bianca Miller. They looked into her finances. They wanted to make sure the $10,000 retainer was clean money. It was not. I found out about this purely by accident, or rather by professional courtesy. The head of Blackstone Investigations, a man named Mr. Sterling, was a former FBI agent. He was also a client of Aegis. My firm handled his cybersecurity. One Tuesday afternoon, my secure phone line rang. It was Mr. Sterling. "Julian," he said. His voice was serious. "We have a situation. A conflict of interest." "What is it, David?" I asked. "A woman named Bianca Miller just hired my firm to investigate you." I froze. "My sister?" "Yes, she wants dirt. She thinks you are a criminal. She wants us to expose you at a party next week." I started to laugh. It was a dry, humorless laugh. "Of course she does. She cannot handle that. I might be happy just drop the case. David, send her money back." "I cannot do that, Julian," Mr. Sterling said, and the tone of his voice changed. It became colder. "Because in the process of vetting the client, we found something bad." "What do you mean?" "Bianca Miller is a financial advisor," he said. "She manages retirement funds for seniors. We ran a standard check on the source of her retainer payment. It came from an account that is not hers. It belongs to a woman named Beatrice O'Connell, a 90-year-old woman with dementia." My stomach dropped. "What?" "We dug deeper," he continued. "It is a Ponzi scheme, Julian. A sloppy one. Your sister has been siphoning money from her elderly clients for 3 years. She moves it to offshore accounts, buys luxury cars, and pays off her own debts. She has stolen at least $600,000. She used stolen money to hire us to investigate you." I sat in my glass office, looking out at the city. My sister, the success, the pride and joy, she was a thief, a predator. She was stealing from old people to fund her lifestyle. What happens now?" I asked. "I have a legal obligation," Mr. Sterling said. "I have to report this to the FBI. It is wire fraud. It is elder abuse. It is federal." "I understand," I said. "Do what you have to do." "There is one thing," he said. "She wants us to come to the party. She wants us to bring the file on you. She wants a dramatic reveal." I thought about it. I thought about the years of insults, the years of being made to feel small. I thought about my grandmother, who was turning 80, and who Bianca was using as a prop. And I thought about those poor people she stole from. "David," I said, "do not tell her. Do not tell her you know. Let her think she won. Let her think you found dirt on me. Go to the party." "Are you sure?" he asked. "It will be a scene, I am sure," I said. "If she wants a dramatic reveal, let's give her one. Bring the agents. Bring the file. But bring the handcuffs, too." The week leading up to the party was surreal. Bianca was glowing. She was vibrating with malicious energy. She called me every day. "Oh, Julian," she would say. "I am so excited for Grandma's birthday. It is going to be unforgettable. I have a special surprise, just for you. I cannot wait," I would say, keeping my voice calm. "Make sure you wear something nice," she sneered. "We do not want you looking like a pauper. Not when everyone is looking at you." She had invited everyone, not just family. She had invited her colleagues, her boss, her rich friends. She wanted an audience for my execution. She wanted everyone to see her triumph. She had no idea that she was building her own scaffold. I went to the party. I wore a simple, elegant, navy blue dress. It cost $2,000, but it looked modest. I walked into the country club ballroom. It was lavish, excessive. There were ice sculptures. There was a 10-piece band. It screamed money, stolen money. Grandma Rose was sitting on a throne-like chair in the center of the room. She looked overwhelmed. She looked tired. I went to her. I kissed her cheek. "Happy birthday, Grandma," I whispered. "Oh, Jules," she said, squeezing my hand. "This is all too much, Bianca. She never listens." "I know," I said. "Just hold on. It will be over soon." Bianca was working the room. She was wearing a gold sequin dress that caught every light. She was laughing too loud. She was drinking too much champagne. She saw me. She waved. It was a predator's wave. I saw Mr. Sterling enter the room. He was not alone. He was with two other men and a woman. They were dressed in sharp, dark suits. They did not look like party guests. They looked like law. They stood by the back doors. They waited. Bianca saw them too. Her eyes lit up. She thought they were her employees. She thought they were bringing the evidence against me. She rushed to the microphone on the stage. She tapped it, the feedback squealed, "Attention, attention everyone," she shouted. The band stopped playing, the room went quiet. "Thank you all for coming to celebrate my wonderful grandmother." There was polite applause, but tonight, Bianca continued, her voice getting shrill, is not just about celebration. It is about truth. It is about integrity, values that this family holds dear. My parents were beaming at her. They thought she was giving a touching speech. "You see?" Bianca said, pointing a long, manicured finger at me. "We have a problem in this family." "A liar, my sister." "Julian," the room gasped. My parents looked confused. Grandma Rose looked horrified. "Julian claims to be a struggling artist," Bianca mocked. "But she has secrets, she has money she cannot explain, she buys expensive things." And I decided, for the good of the family, to find out the truth. I hired a team of top investigators. She gestured to the back of the room, to Mr. Sterling and his team, and they are here tonight to reveal the truth, to show us all where Julian really gets her money. Is it drugs? Is it theft? Is she a mistress to some old man? Tonight, we find out. She was gleeful. She was practically dancing. "Gentlemen," she yelled at them, "please, come forward. Show us the file, expose her." The room was deadly silent. Everyone turned to look at the four people. In dark suits, Mr. Sterling stepped forward. He walked slowly through the crowd. He did not look at me. He looked straight at Bianca. He walked up the steps to the stage. He stood next to her. Bianca reached out her hand. "Give it to me," she whispered. Her microphone still on. "Give me the file." Mr. Sterling looked at her. His face was stone. He reached into his jacket. He did not pull out a file. He pulled out a leather wallet. He flipped it open. A gold badge gleamed under the ballroom lights. "Bianca Miller," he said. His voice was loud. It was authoritative. It was the voice of doom. "I am Special Agent Sterling with the FBI." Bianca's smile froze. It did not fade. It just stuck there, a grotesque mask. "What?" she whispered. "No, you are. You are the investigator. I hired you. You hired a firm that reports federal crimes," he said. "And you paid them with stolen funds." The other agents moved in. They were on the stage in seconds. "Bianca Miller," Mr. Sterling said, "you are under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, and 20 counts of elder abuse. We have the bank records. We have the offshore accounts. We have the testimony of the victims." "No!" Bianca shrieked. It was a sound of pure panic. "No, this is a mistake. You are supposed to be arresting her." She pointed at me. "She is a liar. She is the fake. Your sister, Mr. Sterling said, is a CEO of a multi-million-dollar cybersecurity firm. Her money is clean. Yours is not." The silence in the room was shattered by the sound of metal clicking. The agents grabbed Bianca's arms. They pulled them behind her back. The handcuffs snapped shut. "Mom, Dad," Bianca screamed. "Help me. They are lying. Julian did this." She set me up. My parents were frozen. My father's mouth was open. My mother had dropped her glass. They could not process what was happening. Their golden child, their star, in handcuffs, accused of stealing from old people. "It is not a setup, Mom," one of the agents said to my mother. "Your daughter stole over $600,000 from her clients. She stole from people with dementia. She used that money to pay for her car, her clothes, and this party, the guests. The rich friends, the colleagues." They began to back away. They looked at Bianca with disgust. The illusion was shattered. The perfect, successful financial advisor was a common thief. Bianca was struggling. She was crying. Her mascara was running down her face. "I did it for us." She screamed at my parents. "I did it to be successful, to make you proud." I had to keep up. It was too hard. They dragged her off the stage. They marched her through the ballroom, past the ice sculptures, past the expensive flowers, past the people she had tried to impress. As she passed me, she stopped. The agents let her stop for a second. She looked at me. Her eyes were wild. "You knew," she hissed. "You knew." "I did not know you were a thief, Bianca," I said softly. "I just knew you were mean. But you hired the best investigators in the business. You paid them to find the truth, and they did. They took her away." The blue lights of the police cars were flashing outside the windows. The party was over. But it was not silent. My mother started to wail, "My baby, my poor baby." My father slumped into a chair, looking old and broken. I walked over to Grandma Rose. She was sitting calmly in her chair. She was not crying. She looked relieved. "Are you okay, Grandma?" I asked. "I never liked that girl," she said. Her voice was clear. "She always tried too hard. She had no soul." She looked at me. "So?" she said, a twinkle in her eye. "CEO of a cybersecurity firm. That sounds fancy." I smiled. "It pays the bills, Grandma." I reached into my small clutch purse. I pulled out a thick envelope, the one I had been saving. I did not get to give you my gift," I said. "Before." All this happened. She took the envelope, she opened it, she pulled out the deed. She pulled out the pictures of the Irish cottage. She pulled out the keys, she stared at them. Her hand started to shake. Ireland, she whispered. My mother's home. It is yours, I said. It is paid for. It is ready. We can go whenever you want, tomorrow if you like. She looked up at me. Tears were streaming down her face. But they were happy tears. You did this? You, the struggling artist. I am a very successful artist, Grandma, I said. I paint with code. My parents were watching us. They looked at the deed. They looked at me. For the first time in my life, they saw me. They saw the clothes I was wearing. They saw the way I carried myself. They realized that the failure was the only one standing. The disappointment was the only one with honor. Julian, my father stammered. We did not know. We need help, my mother cried. Lawyers, bail money, the scandal. Julian, you have money. You have to help your sister. I looked at them. I looked at the people who had ignored me, belittled me, and enabled the monster that Bianca had become. No, I said. What? My mother gasped. I do not have to help, I said. I used my money to buy a house for the only person in this family who ever loved me. The rest is mine. Bianca wanted the truth. She got it. Now she has to pay for it. I took Grandma Rose's arm. Come on, Grandma, I said. Let's get out of here. I think we have a plane to catch. We walked out of the ballroom. We walked past my stunned parents. We walked past the whispering guests. We walked out into the cool night air. Bianca was gone. Taken to a cell, my parents were left in the ruins of their reputation. But Grandma and we were going to Ireland. I was not the shadow anymore. I was the one holding the keys, and for the first time in my life, I was completely, perfectly free.